Hey everyone, it's Trisha here, and you are tuning in to Healing with One Pinecone at a Time. I am the owner of Trisha's Oak Art, and every Thursday at 1 o'clock you can tune in and join me as I create something, encourage you to find your own creative space, to use it as a coping mechanism to heal. Right now in the world, everything is heavy, everything is painful, a lot of things are just unsettling, and this is my safe space to kind of escape from that and cope wisely. And every time that I have created in the past, especially in the beginning when I had really bad PTSD, this ended up bringing out and surfacing some things, this space that I've created in my workshop that I didn't know that I had repressed. And so if you're going to be tuning in with me every week and learning something new, or just simply joining me and doing your own creative thing, then, allow yourself to feel. Like, this is intended to give you the opportunity to prioritize your healing in your safe space. It doesn't matter if you're creative. Find something in this time with me, even if you're not just learning what I'm teaching you with how I make things. Grab your pencil and start drawing, or your paintings. Comment below what you do that is creative, even if you're not good at it. Let me know in the comment section below. Do you crochet? Do you paint? Let me know, because then we could help each other out and build each other up in case somebody is just starting with painting and you've been doing it for 20 years. Perhaps they could lean on you for some advice. So this is that space. Now today, I am working on some switch plate covers. I've got multiple projects going on at once, so I'll show you some progress that I'm making on some epoxy ornaments, which I am now restocking. My intention is to create 33 of them, so that you have an abundance to select from for this holiday shopping experience between now and December. So here is one of them. I'll show you the 3 that I have up here. I have a few that are set aside already. And this took multiple layers, and I'm still only halfway done with it. So when I use epoxy, in case you're new to epoxy, I'll tell you that's been a journey for sure. The first month of using epoxy was chaos. For some reason, I just couldn't mix it right, or it was creating too many bubbles, and it was like really temperamental. It was insane. Now I've kind of figured out some tips and tricks. So if you want to start some epoxy projects of your own, you're definitely going to want ventilation. At this point, and if you're in upstate New York and you're working with epoxy, you're going to need to do it indoors. And here's why. You have to have proper ventilation for one, but the temperature needs to be, I think it's like between 63 and 80 or something. There's a specific ratio of the temperature, and it's got to remain that way for the hardening period. Say you have one that hardens within 24 hours, then the consistency in that room of that temperature is going to impact how well it settles. So with this one, it's fantastic. I'm going to do another coating, a thin layer of epoxy that's clear over all of this. When I'm working with things with like little separation right here, I have to actually like push in the sides here with like a stirring spoon or something, because little bubbles will form in these little hiding areas, I call it. So when I'm mixing epoxy, I use like an off brand that's way more expensive and has better ratings than some epoxy that I've gotten before. I'm going to try a new one soon, even though this one's currently working for what I need it to do. I do want to buy some bulk ones. So when it comes to epoxy projects, I like to take this cup here and I'll fill it with hot water. And then I'll put my measuring cup, which I'll show you what I use. You need specific measuring cups. So my measuring has to be like a 1-to-1 ratio. So I need like 50% of one mix and 50% of the other. When you buy them that way, they actually come both together. So then I'll put this in here and let it get warm, and then I'll stir it for about 3 to 5 minutes. And that really helps my projects to settle really well. So before we get to the end of this, I wanted to make sure that you guys can look forward to 3 ways that you can incorporate nature in your home. And I'm going to tell you a really cool story about how nature in my home helped heal me of seasonal affective disorder. All right, so I'll move on to the next 2 that I have in progress. I put little snowdrops. This is the first time I've done it like this. And of course, I'm going to have to do a clear coat of epoxy over this as well. So stay tuned. We'll see how this works by doing the layers with dots. I'm going to be finishing these projects in like a week or 2 because I had to order more epoxy. And then this one's neat, you know, because everyone has like a hunter in their life. So this one has an antler piece, and I think it's a shotgun shell ending. So that's what I'm working on with the epoxy projects. And then I'm going to start some switch plate covers so that you guys can see how I start them. And if you want to get into making your own, you can either take what little advice I can give you in this brief, like 15-minute thing, or you can go to my website, and on the main page, you can scroll down and you can actually purchase your own seminar that you can learn my entire story of healing, as well as all of the things that took me 13 years to learn about how to create rustic decor, specifically switch plate covers, in a way in which is going to make them last and make them something that you can enjoy for generations in your home. So we're going to get started with this and show you. The trick with this is obviously you want to make sure your bark is clean. There's no dirt or anything on the back of it. You don't want your bark to be too thin either. If you're out peeling bark from a living tree, it's going to be too thin for the switch plate covers, and here's why. When it comes to this little square here, we're going to take a razor blade and we cut it out. If your bark is super paper thin, like the stuff that you'll peel off of a living tree, then you're gonna end up cutting through here, and like the bark's gonna rip in weird angles all around it. So it's just not feasible. So you want a good like a medium thickness, not too thick where it's not pliable. But that's the best point on getting started when it comes to at least choosing your birch bark. And of course, if you're not into birch bark, go ahead and paint it or something. Like, I just encourage you to explore something with your creativity that's going to give you an intentional space to heal and just feel and exist and be safe. Because that's how it started with me, with having PTSD. This was the only place I felt safe other than the wilderness. So it's no surprise that I used the wilderness in the creation process. So what I do for the whole idea, this is my theory of how to cut this out. So I just put it over it and make sure that the grains here are going in the right direction. Of course, I can be crazy and make them in the opposite direction. It doesn't really matter. And in fact, I'll probably do that just because. Let's do that. So I actually hold it in place really tightly. Of course, watch your fingers, but you're going to just cut around it. You could also trace it with a pencil or something, but this is my method that works the best for me. So I'm going to hold it tightly so that it doesn't maneuver out of the way. Okay, we're just cutting. And of course, you're going to need some really good scissors too. You can't do this with cheap scissors. These are like some industrial strength ones. I don't know, but they work really well. All right, now we're on to gluing it. For gluing it, you're going to want a flat surface. You're not going to want to put this, you're not going to want to do this with your hands or in any other way, because you're going to end up burning yourself really bad, or it's going to end up bending this, and then it's stuck bent when you've glued it on if you do it the wrong way. So I have a flat surface here. It's just like a thin piece of cardboard, but it is like a durable cardboard. You can also use a tabletop with a tablecloth on it, or the floor as well. So whatever you're going to do, you're going to put the side that you want facing down. And then you're going to take your hot glue. So your hot glue has to be Gorilla Glue. If you do this with any other glue, it doesn't matter what brand it is not going to work. It's going to peel right off immediately. I mean, you won't even get like the sides on your project done before it works. So all right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to rapidly get all the edges all the way around, just like this. I like to get like where the switch part is. And then we're going to place it on our bark that is facing down. And then we're going to gently push on all of the sides, make sure that it is in alignment with the grain and the way that you intended on doing this as well. And we're going to hold it there for a little while. I use it on high heat, but you can use it on low heat through this process. I just prefer the high heat when it comes to the initial application of the birch bark. All right. Beautiful. Now from here, I'm going to trim the sides, and then I'll tell you guys. So I grew up in upstate New York, and this is how I'm doing. I'm just trimming it like this. And I have never been a winter person. So winter was a huge struggle for me. When I was an adolescent, I was very, very depressed, and winter made it worse because I'm somebody who likes to go out and go barefoot in my backyard and go hiking and go to waterfalls and all these things that you can really enjoy thoroughly in the summertime but not in the wintertime. I never was the type of person that would really go snowboarding or anything, so I had to really navigate this into adulthood, and it was a struggle. In college, I would, sometimes your bark will peel off in layers. You're going to want to touch that up or peel it off and have the mystery color. So in college, I would always go tanning, and I was in the tanning bed in the winter time because it made me feel like I was laying out in the sun in the summertime, which not only did the vitamin D feel like it supported my mental wellness, but I also just gave me a nice sense of peace. It was almost like a meditative state to just lay out in the sun. So that became something I was more concerned with my health, being that I started to cope with this by being in a tanning booth, which is not really healthy. So I had to trade that in for something. And eventually I decided to start creating things with nature and bringing them indoors. And then once I started to surround myself with nature in the wintertime, I really genuinely felt a lot better. Like, it just boosted my mood. And statistically, it's been proven, there's been many studies shown that it does help with seasonal affective disorder. So I wanted to give you guys some pointers while I'm looking for a razor here. So some pointers on bringing nature into your house. Obviously, we want to do it in a way that's not going to have bugs or anything come in your home. So let me know if you already have a favorite way to bring nature into your home, whether it's dried flowers or whatnot. Comment that below. My 3 favorite ways is to take pictures of nature or in nature and then frame them. Obviously, I have nature frames, so that adds to it. Another way is we like to incorporate stone and wood in general. Like, this is like a traditional and yet timeless thing that we get to do that reminds us of simpler times too, is incorporating stonework with wood. That's something that's genuinely a great vibe, and they work together really well because they come from nature. The third way is plants. Like, who doesn't love plants? Not only do they help purify your air, but they bring life into it. And sometimes, especially if you're somebody who struggled with seasonal affective disorder like I did, that brings you the warmth that summer did. So we're at this point. That was my story with seasonal affective disorder. And at this point, I'm going to show you what I do with this. It's not easy. Okay, you're going to want to be on a hard surface. I've cut myself doing this multiple times. And it doesn't matter how smart you are, how careful you are. When you're working with a razor that's like this is just like a thin little box one. You're going to cut yourself. My hands are completely scarred up, like everywhere. I don't even know if you can see it, but I have scars here. I have scars like up through, I've cut to the bone here. It's insane. I'm definitely doing something that's not for everyone. So again, if this is not your thing, that's okay. Pick up a paintbrush and use this as your opportunity to paint. So what I do is I go in through the back and I just cut down like that, and I do it around all the angles. So I'm going to do that real quick, and of course you're going to want to be careful. And I use these little razors. They're the best out of like all the box cutters and stuff, because the thin blade and the small blade really fit well in these little crevices of the switchblade cover. And while you're watching this, or when you purchase the seminar on my website, you're going to start to realize why nobody else is making these and why even if you try it, you might not want to make them for your whole house, because it's dangerous and it's not fun for everyone. For me, it is fun because this is a place that I get to go where I just block out reality. It's almost my form of escapism, but it's in a healthy form, right? Because I'm producing something that's healthy. I'm not hurting anybody. Well, not on purpose, not hurting myself on purpose. And it's rare that I even do that, but you know, it's a nice, safe place. Okay, so I have cut that out. And once I do that, I can start my decorating process. And I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do, because every single one of my projects, I don't plan ahead when it comes to creating. And I'm starting to think I want to use some of these little guys on the bottom of these giant pine cones from North Carolina. So I'm going to individually remove them. So these are interesting. If you do anything with these, I actually need to make more earrings with these too. If you do anything with these giant pine cones, you're going to realize how quick they are a pain. Because there's this little spike right here, and if you catch that on your skin, it like embeds like a fish hook. It's not cool. So I have to go through, and every single one of them I cut off, just like this, just every single one. And then you go, obviously you're going to want like goggles or something if you're doing it in that direction. But so I think I'm going to start putting these on somehow in a really cool design process. I'm not sure yet. And I'm going to make this after I get off of this, and then I'll show you later the final project. But I wanted to give you the first step on the switch plate cover. And I want to, again, reiterate the concept of please prioritize your mental health. Please, 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 please. I used to be extremely depressed, had really bad anxiety, and there was probably 8 years of my life that I didn't even want to live. And if I had given up through that, I would not have such a beautiful and blessed life today. And I wouldn't be able to stand here today and tell you that there is hope. There is hope to heal. There is hope to be free of the fear that is instilled in us on a daily basis in this chaotic world. My healing and my hope comes from Jesus Christ. If yours comes from something that works for you, that's not Jesus, that's for you. That's great. I'm glad it works for you. I also have gone through a lot of therapy. I am the last person to be ashamed of the fact that I've reached out for help when I have needed it. And that's what worked for me. Not only that, but changing my entire lifestyle, my choices, and things that I consume in every aspect, not just what I eat and breathe and drink. It's the people I consume. It's the TV that I consume. It's the people that I allow to be in my space, my close space in my life. It's making better choices. So if you know somebody who's struggling with mental health, that needs a safe place to express themselves, please encourage them and tag them or share this with them, because they do need to know that there is hope. Absolutely. I stand here today at 35 years old in love with my life, in love with the peace that I have and the joy in my heart and the healing that I've done. The whole journey has just been, it's been wild, and it's been absolutely worth every moment of vulnerability, every moment of facing my demons, essentially. So again, if you are just hopping on now, you can learn the first few steps of it by tuning back in, or you can watch the entire class on my website today. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I will see you next Thursday at 1 o'clock.